Right, hello guys. So today I am going to be making my updated predictions for the 25-26 championship season. And I know this could be a bit of a controversial one. To be honest, I've chopped and changed this so many times. The championship is really hard to predict. But I'm going to do my best. Sorry guys, don't get angry with me in the comments. But before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to set a like target of 3 likes on this video, so not much. So make sure to like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's see what I have here. And so I've got all 24 teams on this tier list in front of me, and I am going to go in order from the bottom to the top in my predictions. Oh, and also before we begin, I also want to specify that at the start, I'm going to, I will go back, and my official predictions are the ones I made at the start of the season. This is just after 4 games. Let's see how things have changed my opinion. And anyway, in 24th place, I have gone for Oxford. And this is a crucial, this is already a controversial one. Oxford have been fairly impressive this season for me, but I think that they've been quite good defensively. They haven't been conceding or losing many goals. They've lost quite a few games, but they haven't been losing by that many goals. And I think they could. Unfortunately, I just don't think I've seen enough from them to stay up this season. And that's a controversial one, because my 23rd place now, I think, is a lot of people's bottoms, including the bookies, and that is Sheffield Wednesday. Now, at the start of the season, I was very worried about Sheffield Wednesday. I thought, they'd be battered each week. But they haven't really been battered. Sure, they've been losing games, and I still worry about the situation they're in. But I think they'll put up more of a fight than I originally thought. Which is funny, because I actually had them 22nd originally. I had them, a place higher than I currently have them. I'm just worried, yeah, they've showed more fight, and that's why I haven't put them bottom, but I'm just worried about, their situation, that they might not have enough to survive. Sorry guys. And then on to the final relegation spot, and this is maybe the big surprise here. I've gone for Queen's Park Rangers. And QPR, they did just lose 7-1 to Coventry. And I've heard quite a few things about them, that in that match they weren't very good at all. I could easily have QPR surviving. And, I had 22nd and 21st place teams in my predictions, swapping those positions quite often. But in the end, it was the bookies' predictions that did it for me, because the bookies have my 21st place quite high. But 22nd QPR, I think, they're always around that situation. They're always around the drop zone at the minute, unfortunately. I remember QPR pushing for the playoffs in the Premier League quite a few seasons back now. But since then, it hasn't been great. They always seem to start slow and then progress through, through the league. But I'm just worried, and I'm just waffling now. Into 21st place, and the team I have just surviving is Derby County. And Derby's an interesting one. I've seen many predictions for Derby. I've seen them in that relegation scrap, and I've seen them pushing on for top half. And I don't know. One thing they have done in the first 4 games is score goals. Derby, scoring goals is not a problem. It's their defensive record I'm worried about. I'm thinking Derby, yeah, I think they've certainly got enough to stay up this season, but I don't know if they're going to be in the relegation scrap or not. I've put them there currently. They haven't really. I think they've only got one draw in their first 4 matches, and I think they'll survive, but I'm not sure it'll be pretty for them. And then on to 20th place, I've gone for Hull. And Hull is, as I said at the start of the season, it's a bit like Sheffield Wednesday, really. They've got troubles off the pitch, financially, and they could just as easily, slip into that drop zone. But I've got them to stay up because purely based on, what they've done this season, because they drew 0-0 with Coventry in the opening game. They lost 3-0 to Blackburn, but that seems to be an outlier, because one thing that is going around Hull's ground at the minute is a sickness bug, and I feel like that could hamper them. And if they get off to a slow start to the season, it could be quite a trudge, quite a long slab for the Hull fans this season. But I just think they've got enough in the tank to survive, but only just in 20th place. And in 19th place, I have gone for Charlton. And I like what Nathan Jones is doing with this club. I had them bottom originally in my original predictions, but I've seen enough fight from them. And what they seem to be doing quite often this season is what they did in League One so often last season and win 1-0. Like, they don't score many goals, but quite often 1 goal seems to be enough for them to win matches. I just think, yeah, Nathan Jones is a good manager, and they've got off to a good start to the season. But I just don't know if, they'll continue that form progressively throughout the season. And I think there could be a slight drop-off from them. But 19th place is where I've got them, in the relegation scrap. But I think they'll survive before the final day. And it'll be between these other 5 I've got up here. And then into 18th place, I'm going for Blackburn. And this is controversial, because Blackburn, they've been the only real excellent result they've got this season so far, I believe, is beating Hull 3-0. And it's like I said, it seems to be an outlier for them as well, because they have been struggling at the start of the season, and I'm just worried. I am worried for them. I feel like I've been a bit too optimistic with them in their chances in my prediction videos, in weekly predictions. But I think that Blackburn, yeah, I think they're a solid championship unit and former Premier League champions as well in the 90s. But I think it could be a bit of a, like I said about Hull, I think it could be quite a slow season for them. But they'll survive, and fairly comfortably. And then we move on to what's considered mid-table here. And in 17th place, I am going for Watford. And Watford, I think, have shown enough fight to warrant a mid-table finish in this season. I originally had them, I think, a couple places lower than this. 17th place, I think, yeah, that 2-2 draw against Southampton is a good result. And one thing about Watford is I think their home form will push them on towards mid-table this season. But I just don't know what to expect from them. Like, I don't expect many goals this season, and I think I can expect quite a few goals going in the other end at Watford. I think, as I said, the home form will push them up the table and around mid-table, just surviving-ish. But 17th place is where I've got them. Then into 16th place, I am going with Portsmouth. And it's a similar story with them, really. I think, like Watford, Portsmouth's home form is what's going to push them up the league. Their home form made them comfortable mid-table last season, and I think it could be more of the same this season for Portsmouth. I think mid-table, 16th place is where I've got them. I keep saying this constantly, but it's true. And they could go away and lose 1-0, 2-1 one week, and then go back and win like 4-1, 4-0 at home the following week. Like, Portsmouth are a tricky side to predict, but I think they'll be fine this season. And I think 16th place in mid-table is where I've got them right now. I'm kind of half doing this on the fly, guys. In 15th place, yeah, this is going to be a painful one. I'm going for Wrexham. Like, I've seen enough for them to survive, but, I mean, they've been off to a slow start to the season, and I've said it before. I think when Wrexham get going, they'll get going, and I could easily see a top 10 finish for them this season, or at least top half, or thereabouts. But from what I've seen so far this season, 15th place seems about right, mid-table, surviving their first season, and I think gradually they can, you know, under Rob and Ryan, they can bring in money, they can bring in players, and I think it could be a building season for them this season, and then they can push on next season or the season after, in 2027 or whatever. And I think, as of right now, I've got Wrexham in 15th place. I think, yeah, they've been impressive, but I mean, they had a 2-0 lead against Sheffield Wednesday and dropped points and ended 2-2. But mid-table is where I've got them. Then in 14th place, and this is where it actually gets tricky here. Who do I put in 14th? In 14th place, I've got the top 10 or 12 listed out. It's just these other places. Okay, in 14th place, I'm going with Swansea. I did really want to put Swansea higher than this. They've been impressive, but I mean, realistically, any one of these teams in front of me here, down here, can be pushing for the playoffs this season. At least, I think, with the starts they've had, they can certainly be pushing forward. But I just wonder, you know, we'll start with Swansea. They've been impressive. They've been getting wins, both home and away. Results home and away. And I've been impressed by what they've done so far this season. And I don't really have much to say on them. They're just steady units. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if they went and pushed for top half, even the playoffs this season. I know there were quite a few people's dark horses at the start of the season to make the playoffs this season. But ultimately, 14th is where I've got them. And in 13th place, I'm going with Preston. Which is risky because Preston are, actually right now as it is, stands are in the playoffs. But we've seen it before where they've got off to a fast start and then they've dropped down the table. And I don't think it'll be very hard. I had them only just surviving again this season, but it's like last season, I think. They started well, and then they dropped, and they only just survived on the final day last year. And I think Preston will have a bit more fight about them this season. They don't score many goals, but I think it might be a gradual drop-off, but I do have them surviving and very much comfortably in mid-table. And then into the top half we go. And in 12th place, I'm going with Norwich, actually. I was tossing 12th and 11th place up for these two places. But I feel like I've been spurred on quite often into a false sense of security with Norwich. I think, yeah, Norwich this season I have backed, I think, almost every week, or every week to get a result in my championship prediction videos. But it hasn't really come into fruition. I don't know why I've been blinded so much by Norwich. Yeah, I originally had them in the playoffs, so I've now got them mid-table. I haven't been too impressed, to be honest, by their start to the season. And one key player for them, of course, is Josh Sargent. And I'm not even sure if they'll hold on to him. I've heard rumours about potential moves away. If they can hold on to him, I think they can still push on for top half at least. But I'm just uncertain about them right now. And the other team I had tossing them up, 11th place, is Bristol City. And I think this might be the first team in the whole video I've got in the same place I did at the start of the season. Strangely enough, I think Gerhard Struber's got off to a flying start. I mean, I didn't expect them to win 4-1 against Sheffield United on the opening day. And they've been impressive, and as I say, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if they made playoffs this season, or at least pushed for it again. But I've got them mid-table, just in the top half. I will revisit this video at some point in the season, maybe in the next international break, but I just think, as of right now, I've seen enough for top half, but nothing much more. And then we go into our top 10, and we've got 4 teams missing out on the playoffs. And in 10th place, I've gone for Stoke. And Stoke were, as recently as game week 3, top of the table. They've now dropped out of that position. Stoke, Mark Robins, what a manager he's got. He's been quite infamous for having slow starts with Coventry. But what a start he's had for Stoke. And he's been impressive. And I had Stoke, I think, 15th originally. Because they always seem to finish around mid-table in the Championship. But I think this season could be different. I think Mark Robins is a good manager. He's a good outfit for them. And I think Stoke can make top half. But I just think there'll be tricky games this season for them. And I don't know if they'll have enough to make playoffs. They could, but I don't know. Then in 9th place, it's between 2 teams for me again here. I'm going with Millwall. And yeah, this is tricky now. I think in terms of making the playoffs, any one of these teams could be in there. Or at least fighting for it. And Millwall's been interesting. They seem to be doing better away from home than they do at home this season, which is quite interesting. But Millwall, I mean, they're currently, I think, just outside the playoffs. Of course, they did just... I expected them to, I think draw with Middlesbrough, and they lost 3-0, and that was at home. I did get their, I think it was their 1-0 win against Wrexham recently, correct, or did I? Actually, I think Wrexham beat them 2-0, didn't they? Yeah, Millwall's been impressive. I just don't know if their current home form will, if that progresses throughout the season. I don't know if, or continues, I don't know if they'll quite have enough to make it. 9th place is where I've got them. And the other team I was toying with for that position is West Brom. And this seems a bit unfair because I think West Brom are currently in the top 3. They might be second, actually, as it stands. But I'm worried. I've seen West Brom do this before. They've been in and around the playoffs. And then they've slipped out of it and finished around 10th, 9th, 8th place. I think I've been impressed by them so far this season. Of course, they got that bonkers 3-2 victory against Wrexham. But I just think there might just be that slight drop-off, and they just narrowly miss out. And then the final team I have missing out in the playoffs, in 7th place, is Sheffield United. And I did not expect to be doing this 4 games in. But they're currently bottom of the table, below Sheffield Wednesday, and I just worry, I think they've got to sack Ruben Sellers at some point soon, if the problems continue, and if they bring in someone else, like a Chris Wilder, I think they'll go on a good run, and yeah, I mean, it's not too late, they're only 12 points off the top, and I think Sheffield United could still make the playoffs here, with the right managerial appointment. But I just don't know. I don't know. Under Ruben Selles, they are very much bottom. They can finish there. And then we've got these 6 teams in the playoffs. And in 6th place, I am going for Middlesbrough, who are currently top of the table. And Rob Edwards is doing an excellent job at Middlesbrough, and I think they can make the playoffs. I originally had them just missing out, but I think they can make it this season. They're currently top, and I think they can go on a good run at some point this season and get in there. And another team I have in 5th place and in the playoffs is Coventry. And this is a drop-off of 1 place from the start of the season. I had them in 4th. And I've been impressed by Frank Lampard. And honestly, as recently as last week, I wanted to put them in my top 2. But I think realistically, do they have the run? Do they have that momentum to continue throughout a 46-game season? I don't know. I think they're certainly strong favourites for playoffs, and I think they'll be in there, but I don't think automatics is quite there yet. But playoffs, Coventry fans, I'm sure they'll be happy with that again. And hey, they might be one of my favourites for this. As indeed 4th place, Birmingham could be. Yeah, I've got Birmingham in 4th. I mean, they've been off to a great start, and I think, like a few teams down here, I think they can go on a run at some point this season. And I think they could very much make top 2. Again, another team I wanted to put in there, but I don't know. I think Birmingham are just going to miss out on automatics, but they'll be there or thereabouts. You know, like we had the last couple seasons, four teams scrapping for the top 2 spots or so, and then 1 drops away. And strangely enough, both those 4th place teams that drop away win the playoffs. I guess because they've had more time. And I think this season that could be the same case, but with Birmingham. And then the final team I've got in the playoffs, and this could be a surprise for people. I'm going with my club. I'm going with Southampton. And this is more of an uncertainty thing than anything else. I think, you know, Will Steele is an excellent manager. He's got off to a slow start, but it's like last time. Southampton got off to a slow start and then went on a 20-odd game winning run in the Championship and finished 4th and got promoted. Top 2 is very much still on. I think the league title is still on, but I just think about our history. This is more based on Southampton's history than anything else. I think Southampton, they could make playoffs, but only 3rd place. And then we've got our top 2, and in 2nd place, I've got Leicester, and I've got Ipswich still winning the league. And let's start with Leicester. I mean, I wasn't sure about them at the start of the season. They could still get a points deduction, and this could look stupid. But I was impressed by their performance against Birmingham, 2-0. And I think Leicester could very much still make top 2, and I think they could be in there. And I was toying with them winning the league. I think it all comes down to a points deduction, dependent on whether they make it or not. And then Ipswich, well, they've got off to a slow start, 3 draws from 4 matches and a loss, which I predicted against Preston. But I think when Ipswich go on a run, they could easily go on a 7-8 game winning run and be right back in the top spot. And I think Ipswich under Kieran McKenna, they know what to do. He knows what to do to get this team promoted. He did it before. And I think they might have enough to win the league this season. It's my entire updated Championship predictions. Stay tuned, I'll be doing the same for the Premier League on Wednesday, so make sure you look out for that. And as I said before at the start of the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I have set a like target of 3 likes for the video. I know you can do it. We absolutely smashed the like target in the last Championship predictions video. So make sure to do it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Right, hello guys.